Good evening and welcome to the program on a Thursday night. Heretofore known as many other things, it's called the Buddy Martin Show. Always, this is Thursday night. Once upon a time, it was called the Orange and Blue Bloods. Now it's just the Buddy Martin Show, and we got lots of new changes in the wind. One thing about our show is we're always evolving. Thanks to you, we'd like to try to get the next thing and get going tonight. We're actually going to introduce a new segment to new friends, and we hope that will be more of you coming aboard and checking us out. As you know, geographically, we're located mostly now in Northwest Florida, and a couple of our Panhandle friends will join us tonight. We'll talk about that. There are lots of people up here doing lots of things. Of course, it's always Gator-centric, as you know. We had many things to talk about tonight, and as you saw in the tease of the Open, we're going back to talk about something I'm not terribly glad to talk about, but probably have to. I think they're starting to pile on selling a little bit now. I'm not sure that's comfortable or the right thing to do. It's coming from people like Chipper Jones. Chipper Jones? Yes, Chipper Jones. I don't know what fight he's got here, but he's mad at a lot of people in college baseball. By the way, did he play college baseball? I don't believe so. Anyway, we went right to the pros. So we'll talk about that. And Ben Troupe, hey, he's a big Braves fan. Maybe he'll defend Chipper, and we'll talk about that some, but also some good news tonight. Gator Baseball has got some new players that got them committed, and we'll talk about that as well. It's going to be a good night tonight, the next hour or so. Tell your friends and neighbors. The Buddy Martin Show is on the air, and Ben Troupe and Franz will join us shortly.
Yes, it's time again for Buddy Martin. Call him up and tell him what you're thinking. But be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening. This is the Buddy Martin Show. I am Buddy Martin, the Buddy Martin. Glad to be with you again for, my gosh, how many years? This has been, many of you have known for, well, since you were knee-high to a grasshopper, but welcome aboard to the show tonight. I'm really going to apologize a little bit because I didn't really want to go back here. I kind of closed the book on college baseball for a while. I watched a ton of games. I watched more baseball than I've ever watched in my life, for sure more college baseball. I mean, all during the SEC and then, of course, the region and what have you. And I enjoyed it, but I'm a little baseball weary, although I'm watching, the corner of my eye to see what the Rays are doing. The red-hot Rays are trailing 2-1 against, Texas. So they've beaten them last night. So anyway, I want to just address this and see where it goes. And then if nobody wants to talk about it, we can drop it. But I did read this yesterday. Chipper Jones apparently was quite upset about college baseball. And the thing about it is he didn't specify, although he did implicate, about what teams, but you kind of could read the tea leaves. And he talked about some college teams not playing with any class, their coaches and their players being sort of unkempt in their uniforms, not playing the game the right way or respecting. I mean, I don't want to go through the whole thing, but it's clearly he's upset at some people in the game of college baseball. Correct me if I'm wrong. He didn't play college baseball, but that's another matter. He was so good at bowls. He went and became a pro. I remember I was there when he did that. Great player and obviously a very well-respected player. But now he's come out and said that he was mad at some people and didn't really name all the names, didn't name any names for the way they comport themselves, all right? And he was pretty generic. But by the way, one of the coaches, he said that does it the right way is Coastal Carolina's Kevin Schnall. That's right, Coastal Carolina's Kevin Schnall. That gives him a dog in that fight, I think, with Florida and what have you. So there are all kind of guesses online what teams he meant. I don't want to. I mean, Florida clearly is one. Sounds like it might be Tennessee. It might be Georgia. Anyway, so he's kind of broad brush there. He's implicated a lot of people, and he's talking about how poorly they comport themselves. Well, okay, I guess he's entitled to that, but I just question the timing. Look, let's be honest. Sully had a bad day. Okay, he had a bad day, and he did something he should not have done. He was called down for it, reprimanded by his boss, and had to apologize, which is not an easy thing for him to do. He's a proud man. And he made a mistake. And he made it publicly, and he did it, unfortunately, with hot microphones around him and a pretty bad language to use. So he's going to get some heat, and he's getting heat, and I understand that. But I'm just going to say, I don't want to say give him a break, but I just wonder why Chipper Jones jump on him and other players like Tennessee. I think Tennessee's program is great, and enjoy watching them play. Georgia, I could care less about. So anyway, so he's done that. I don't know, maybe you don't even care about it, and so we'll let it go. But I just wanted to make sure that I did say in this tease that this was something I thought was a low blow by Chipper Jones, make you wonder why he's picking a fight with these college teams when he didn't really have a dog. Now he's got a dog in the fight, and he's going to be on the enemy list of the Gator fans, I can tell you right now. Meanwhile, there's a little good news, I guess, in the baseball department. And I didn't come on here on the idea of talking about baseball tonight, but it's in the news. Apparently, Florida had a pretty good day. They landed a commitment from Notre Dame pitcher Ricky Reith, a relief pitcher, I'm told. It's quite good. And now they got a pledge from a guy named A.J. Malzahn of Wabash Valley College in Illinois, and he's supposed to be a really good catcher. He had a big freshman season in 2024, batted .372, 8 home runs, 42 RBI, 55 years. Now, it's not SEC ball, but nonetheless, looks like a promising catcher. So they're obviously not happy with their catching. And some things happened there late in the game, like one of the catchers that played didn't swung on 3-0 count despite the fact he was told not to. Anyway, and of course the injury to the other catcher naturally was the situation. So that's going on there. Meanwhile, other promising prospects. Jacob Rudner, who I have a lot of respect for, he does a lot of reporting, especially on baseball, said tonight that Florida is pretty strong in the race for this transfer catcher, Carson Tinney, who caught this guy Reith quite a bit. So let's go see if we've got Ben Troupe in the house yet. He should be here shortly. I believe he is. Say good evening to number 84. And hello there. I'm talking about your team and your boy Chipper Jones.
Hey, look, buddy, you got to listen. I'm out here traveling. I said, listen, I'm jumping on here with buddy. I don't care if these people over here looking at me crazy. I said, listen, I'm talking to my people on here, man. And Chipper, I hope Chipper's saying some things that I can live with, because my Braves, we up and down. We lose games 11-10. You put that Tampa Bay curse on us, buddy.
Well, they are playing well. They're getting beat right now. But look, I mean, I have a lot of respect for Chipper. I was in Jacksonville when he was a young star at Bowls coming up. A lot of people don't know he broke his hand in a fist fight for the state finals in baseball in high school. But anyway, the point is, he's a great player. I don't know. Did you read the story about what he said? How he criticized, not by names, these teams, but the way they played the game, the way their coaches responded, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And he didn't ever name the teams, but he did side with a Coastal Carolina coach, of course, was at the short hairs with Sully. So I'm not sure why and what. Have you heard anything about that up there in your country?
I mean, no. I mean, I didn't see the story. I mean, I know the one thing about Chipper Jones that goes unsaid is he's very outspoken when it comes to something he's passionate about. I mean, he's going to speak his mind. So I haven't had a chance to read the story. But, I mean, if Chipper knows that when he speaks, people listen. And hopefully, man, whatever he's talking about, man, going to garner the type of attention he's trying to give to it. But, no, I'm going to have to go back. Anytime you tell me to read something, buddy, I try to go back and do my due diligence.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to make too much of it. I really kind of wanted to drop the Sully thing. I think he's been beaten to death. But, it comes a time where how much you're going to pile on the guy? I mean, he shouldn't have done it. He got in trouble for doing it, didn't lose his job. And I got to thinking, what if your coach, Steve Spurrier, had done the same thing? Which, by the way, he might have. He got called out a coach and got mad about it too, and did what he would do a different way. I'm not saying he's Steve Spurrier. But, and I think Sully has earned part of that. It was a national championship coaching program. And what a year he had, man. What a year. You got to give a lot of credit. And, again, I don't want to be an excuse maker. What do you think of the whole thing with Sully?
I mean, it's a slippery slope. I mean, I don't want to say it was disappointing. I think his frustration just got the best of him, buddy, because for him to come back from the season they started off with to end up even making it, making it to, some regionals and making it to like the postseason, and for it to end the way it did, yeah, it's frustrating. But I would say this about Sully. Sully's saying, look, man, I'm not going to always handle things the right way. I'm not going to always say things the right way. I believe in this team more than anybody, and sometimes my emotions be ahead of my words, be ahead of my professionalism. But I agree with what you said, but he's earned it. I mean, look, we live in a social media world that everything is instant news. Everything you say is going to get blown up 10 times more. Everything you do is going to get blown up 10 times more. But I think the parity in college baseball has gotten to a point where we don't think teams like ECU are going to be able to do what they did. But we don't watch them throughout the course of the year. So when they do what they did against us, you start saying to yourself, hey, man, is SEC baseball really what we think it is? Yes. Does that mean that they can't be beat? No, anybody can. And like I say, Sully going to look back on it and learn from it. But, buddy, the one thing I give Sully is this. He's human. And he gave us some human moments. It wasn't his best light, but he'll learn from it and grow from it. And hopefully he'll come out 2020. Because, I mean, people talk about the pressure that's under these coaches. Sully is under a lot of pressure for what he's capable of doing. And they didn't, it wasn't their best effort, man. But, hey, man, I give him a pass. It happens. It happens to the best.
Well said. I didn't give him a pass, but I understand. And I think you have to understand the amount of pressure on these guys. And he has had more than lose half your team to injury. Start off, and I'm making excuses for him. I'm not saying he did it right. But I'm not too happy with this dude, Schnall. I don't know much about him. According to Chad here, he says, Chad calls him a name. He says he always has been a, you know what? He's a but this is not a good dude. Was it right for him to come back and come out in his press conference after it was over and rip Sully in his press conference? I mean, that was bad.
Yeah, and here's the thing, right? Here's the thing. When those type of situations happen, you always got to remember, your legacy is either going to happen when you on the baseball diamond or what you say in the press conference. Because, buddy, the thing about that is Sully has earned credibility, not just in Florida, but throughout college baseball, throughout the NCAA. He is baseball royalty. A young man come and get to talk about Sully, you always got to ask yourself, are you only saying this because of what happened? Because if you ain't never been critical before and now you letting your emotions get the best of you, him and Sully ain't in the same stratosphere, man. And sometimes your last impression will be that press conference. Now that I understand feedback, but criticism is a little bit different, especially when you're talking about a guy like Sully.
Well, I'm looking at it objectively. I know the pressure these guys are under, and it's really a lot today, especially with the amount of money in the game. And I think about, well, look, let's be honest. Sully didn't like the way things are going. He's used to playing those regional games at home, right? And he didn't get to play with them. Now he's up there where the rules are different. And they changed something on him. He likes everything to be buttoned up, and they changed the time of the game, which they legally could do, but it threw his pitching rotation out, apparently. Again, not making excuses. He already had a short fuse, and this kind of threw him over the top. And then they had guy who somebody caught his comments on a cell phone and they posted that. And like our friend Kevin Brockway said, hot takes and hot mics don't go together.
Yeah, and that might do that. Shoot, that might be. They might have to say that in journalism school. Hot takes and hot mics don't go together. And unfortunately, depending on who you are and what you do and who you do it for, it's gonna justify or invalidate. The things you say. We as much as we want coaches to be human, to show that frustration, to show the fact that, hey man, it didn't end up the way we still want to try to put a cap on it. But I will say this. No one knows what it's like if Buddy Martin got to write a story about a player or a coach that he admires. You still got to be, you still got to go out there and write it. No one knows what it's like to lose in the manner that you lost when everything you had to overcome. Sometimes that 5 minute, 10 minute in the locker room ain't enough. I got to sit in front of them cameras and maybe I'll calm down and somebody say something, set me off. Look, it's a moment in time. And I think it's because of who it is more than what he said or what he did. But we have to learn from it. Like I said, Coach Spurrier had a lot of blow-ups, but he was so great, we don't remember the blow-ups. Nick Saban had a bunch of blow-ups. They're so great that we kind of let it go. Sully, like I say, man, Sully is baseball royalty. Whether it's college or pro, but I just think that when I saw the way we got beat, I was like, that's not gonna be good, man, because the reputation at Florida and the pressure to win is about as high as it gets. So, it happened, but he'll be better for it. I think he'll be better for it. Hopefully,
Right, so
hopefully.
I'm not going to keep you all the full hour here. Just hang with me for a second. Franz will be joining us tonight, and we got a new segment coming up on the Panhandle, called the Panhandle Podcast. I don't know how much you've been up here. There's a lot of interest in college sports, especially the Gators, Auburn, Alabama, and this part of what they call LA, Lower Alabama, here in Panama City and what have you. And I've got a couple of friends, one who lives here and one who doesn't. Rob Browne, Rob, and they know the area really. I'm going to learn some things, and they're going to come up tonight. We're going to try something new. Meanwhile, here's more news. University of Florida Board of Trustees chair is standing by the decision, whatever that means, to make Dr. Santa Ono the next university president, following his rejection this week by the state board. It was a statement issued. Now, I didn't know they could do this, man. I guess he was voted, it was 10-4 and 6 against. I'm not sure how this all works, but now they're coming back and saying, no, that's the guy we wanted, and we're going to put him back up. Any idea what's going on there? Buddy, I'm learning it. I'm learning as I go, like you are. I saw the article that you sent me. It's so many things. Listen, as much as we know about sports, there's so many things that go on behind the scenes. I thought this was a slam dunk. I remember when they say he's coming from Michigan and he's gonna be that, but it's politics in it, even if you ain't, even if we don't want to look at it that way. But I guess the vote is one thing, but who they want is everything. I thought the vote, he didn't get in. I saw the different things, but it's awkward. But I guess they got it. I guess they let them vote to see kind of where the pulse of the voters are. But they say, look, this is who we want. So I guess they supersede the voter. I don't know, but hey, man, he's coming in at no fault of his own with some level of controversy, depending on what happened. But hopefully he does a good job. Once that ink dries, it's all water on the bridge. Hopefully he does a good job. Franz Beers is just about ready to join us, points out that he did cover up the whole problem they had at Michigan, but it's caused them to get in trouble and with the NCAA and what have you. We'll get that from Franz in a minute. Also, meanwhile, today, another thing, not just for Florida, is the 17-year-old kid who was charged. I guess he's charged. I'm not sure. He was the one, I guess, a big lineman. They didn't name it. They mentioned they printed his name today, and the Gainesville Sun did it. Stephon Shivers placed under house arrest after his initial appearance in Lachman County, arrested on account of false imprisonment, dating violence, following an altercation with the female on June 1, consistent with the policy paper. The Gainesville Sun and withholding the name, identifying details of the victim. The Gainesville Sun said they would publish the name of Shivers juvenile. when he appeared at the hearing. So they did publish his name. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but unfortunately, the young man made a mistake. He's going to pay for it quite a bit. He already is paying for it. I don't know the young man. I just know that he made a bad decision, and sometimes bad decisions can, my late wife used to say, I know my kids are going to make mistakes. I just hope they are able to overcome them. That's the key. And so guys like me and Franz Beard have been able to somewhat overcome ours, right, Franz? Look at the hats. Look at the hats.
Well, I hope for the young man's sake that there's a lot to the story that it can exonerate him at least in some portion of this. Obviously, it's he said, she said, and it's difficult. We're in a society where it's always the idea believe the woman is out there, and in many cases that should be the case, but not always. So I hope that there are extenuating circumstances, whatever, that maybe he did some things wrong, but not all of it. If he did all of it wrong, then he's not in good shape at all.
Yeah.
But let's hope for his sake that there's more to it than just meets the eye.
Yeah, Franz, we talked the first part of the show. I'm not going to keep him too long because he's clearly outside. He may get rained on.
I'm out here with 18 wheelers. They ain't gonna hit me though.
Okay. We're talking about it again. I don't want to bring up the whole Sully thing again. I don't want to relitigate it and all that sort of stuff. He made a mistake. We understand that. He's paid a price for it. He was reprimanded publicly and for what he did. He had a tough year. But today, Chipper Jones came out without saying Florida. He criticized college coaches, and he criticized and the people who follow Chipper said he was talking Florida, he was talking Tennessee, he was talking Georgia, which surprises me. Now the coach Schnall, the guy who blasted Sully on his press conference, who I thought was really tacky, did that. He's one of Chipper's buddies. Chipper applauded him. I don't know if you saw it, what you know about it, or what your thoughts are, Franz.
Well, I haven't. I read about what Chipper said and so forth like that, and I think that he was right. That Sully went off the rails on it. Is he the first coach ever to do it? No. The apology should be good enough. I think more is being made of it than really should be out there. Like I said, is this the first coach that ever blew up over something? No. Did he have a right to blow up? Yes. So did he carry it too far? That also. So there's a lot of things in there. Personally, he's won 755 baseball games, a national championship, and he's had the Gators at the College World Series more than anybody else. So all these things considered, gosh, Ben, you sound like you need to have a big boat with the door open so little animals can start pairing up and getting in there.
We're going to turn his volume down for a minute. Just go ahead, Franz, finish up. He said the F word too many times. Let's face it. If he had just gone off the rails and screamed and yelled without the F bomb, it would only be about half as the situation it is now. But the fact he threw the F bombs in there, it's going to get beat into the ground. But he's not going anywhere. He has won 755 ball games. He's won the College World Series. He's played for the College World Series championship 3 other times, and he's had the Gators in Omaha, I think 9 times during his 17-year career. He ain't going anywhere unless he chooses to go someplace else.
So again, much is being made of it that's way too much. Hello? Ben, can you hear me? Bud Light seems to have gone, he's frozen. He's got Ben muted and he's frozen. So I'll just carry on a conversation right now, best I can. Ben, I got a great idea. Sign off and then sign back on, and that way we'll have your volume, okay? And you and I can carry on the conversation since Bud Light is obviously frozen in space here. Anyway, oh my goodness. Here's the thing. I think that people lose sight of this, that coaches are emotional. They get paid to win ball games. They get paid to get their teams into playoffs and in championships. And here's the deal. Baseball is a game probably more so than any other because that requires routine. Pitchers require routine, hitters also. You take batting practice if you're the visiting team, which Florida was going to be. You take batting practice about 2.5 hours before game time. So guess what? When you start adding another hour to it and you've already begun the process, it changes everything. And I don't know how far along they were in batting practice and other things, but I know that he got upset. So anyway, much ado about nothing is the way I look at it. The Coastal coach, I think, went overboard in his criticisms of Kevin. And for that, I've had probably 25 text messages from people saying, because he did that, I hope Coastal gets absolutely ambushed and thrown on a rotisserie at Auburn. I think there's a lot of people who think that. Dan Bond asking thoughts on all the softball transfers. Mia Williams, McKenna, I can't think of her last name, Kylie Shaw, and also the fourth one, Layla Lamar, are transferring out. Layla Lamar, I think, is going home to play for her mama, who is the head coach at Duke. And I think that's probably going to be the case here. I was a little surprised about Kylie Shaw because she early enrolled to come here. But she didn't play much. She pinch ran a lot, didn't play much. And I think she's looking at who Florida is going to play next year, because next year Townsend Thomas is going to be playing for sure. Cassidy McClellan's going to have to play in there somewhere. She's an excellent player. Last year she was having a good year and she got hurt. And this year she spent most of her time as a pinch runner. I think the injury lingered a bit and that kind of held her back a bit. But Cassidy McClellan, I wouldn't be surprised to see her starting in left field next year. The kid who they signed out of California, who's coming in, I would expect her to be the second baseman next year with Mia Williams gone. Ava Brown probably will play first base. Shortstop, my guess is going to be Gabby Cormia, who has great speed. I thought Gabby was going to play more this year than she did. They've got a girl named Melissa Hovermail from California who's hanging around, who's a great hitter out in California. And she has sat and waited for a long time. She's another one who could factor into everything. Kenley Cahalan will be back. Florida's going to be really good next year, but the pitching's got to come around. And I'll throw an idea at some of you guys and let you think about it. If you're old enough, then you remember a guy named Nolan Ryan. Well, when he was coming up in the Mets organization and in the early years with the Mets, he used to get blisters on his fingers. And how he cured them was through soaking his fingers in pickle brine. I don't know whether that actually worked or it was that's just all something he tried, and because his fingers have eventually healed and toughened up. I don't know if that was the case or the pickle brine actually helped. But in the meantime, he went on to have a pretty good career, I think you would all admit. So my thought is, hey, somebody needs to tell Tim Walton, get this girl a jug of pickle brine, and tell her to start, Keegan Rothrock, and tell her to start soaking those fingers, because this year she had the problem with the blisters on her fingers, and hopefully she'll be over that. They caused her to throw her rise ball got flat when she started getting blisters and tender fingers, and a flat rise ball tends to go a long way out of the yard when it gets hit. Question by Perry Mason: who is leaving the baseball team and who is coming back? So far, the only transfer out's Jacob Gomberg, who is a left-handed pitcher, didn't pitch much this year. He's picking up a kid named A.J. Malone out of junior college, who's a catcher, who had really good numbers. Hit for a high average, I think 9 homers, about 57 RBIs. He's picking up a relief pitcher whose name I can't recall right now. But he picked up this pitcher whose name I can't recall. And he is a reliever from Notre Dame. Now, there's a lot of people speculating that they're going to get the catcher from Notre Dame as well. And I got a question about that that I will throw out there here. And that is Luke Heyman coming back, or is he going to get drafted? I think he's going to get drafted, and I would think he's going to get drafted fairly high. He'll get drafted, I think, in the first 7 or 8 rounds, even with the broken forearm. So, okay, here's Ricky Reith. Yes, he's a right-handed relief pitcher from Notre Dame. But Luke Heyman not coming back, okay?
Hang on, Franz.
Hi, but let me finish what I'm doing. I've been carrying on the whole time.
Yeah.
I need to get Ben back in here. But that's 14 home runs that are gone. Bobby Bozer is going to be going. He's exhausted his eligibility. That's 19 gone. I don't think Shelton will be back. That's another one gone. It's only 7 home runs this year, but he hit 20 last year. Brody Donay probably gone, I would expect. But again, this is a guy that hit 19 home runs as well. So there's going to be a big exit of power. Where is the power going to come from? And my belief is that Sully's going to have to dip heavy into the portal. So far, a lot of people a lot of schools are already picking up players in the portal, and I don't see Florida. Florida just started today, so I think Sully's going to have to go dip heavy into the portal to make up for those losses. Cade Curlin will be back next year. That's one, but Cade Curlin back next year. Brendan Lawson back next year. Maybe on Heyman, maybe not. You're going to lose Bozer out the other side of the infield. Landon Stripling will be back. Blake Sear will be back. Hayden Yost will be back. And then Ashton Wilson and Justin Nadeau, neither one of whom have a lot of power. So he's going to have to pick up some home runs from someplace, buddy.
Yeah, thanks for covering for me. I was taking a lightning hit. My whole internet went out, and Ben probably won't come back because he was on his phone. But I didn't know if you – good job on doing the baseball. I guess you got the news about Florida got a double dip today. They got commitments. They got a couple of things. They got
Ricky Reith, we talked about that. He's a relief from Notre Dame.
And the catcher, A.J. Malzone of Wabash Valley College. So obviously it tells you where he's going with that. And he's got a pretty good stick. So So that's something. You're making some moves for there. So yeah, we'll see where that all goes. I don't know about the softball team. I keep hearing lots of things. I don't want to say anything without knowing any more we know about Mia.
We were chatting about that while in your absence. That
Her mother issued a kind of a strong statement today. Did you hear about it?
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, no, it's not pretty. It's not pretty. About some things that were wrong, indicating it was more than just money. I don't know if they thought. I don't know exactly what it was. I hate to speculate, but apparently, she went off. She made a post. The type's almost too small to read. I did read it today earlier, and there obviously is some unhappiness there in that regard.
Well, you're talking about Mia Williams' mother,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, here's what I've heard about that: is they want Mia to play shortstop, and what Tim wants her to do is move to first base. Now, for that, I'll say, let's go back to Reagan Walsh, who came here as a hotshot shortstop, and they tried to play her at shortstop when she was a freshman, and really good charge in the ball, really good arm, but didn't have the lateral mobility.
I don't think she's that good a defensive player, to be honest with you.
Well, they tried her at second base.
And she had her liabilities at second base.
Yeah, they tried her short. Then year 2 at second base. When she really took off as a hitter, though, was when they started playing her as the DH and the first baseman, which is what they did the last 2 years. And she made All-America as a result.
Right.
So, on this case, I trust Tim Walton. Tim Walton's been to the College World Series 13 times in 20 years, which is pretty darn good percentage, if you ask me.
No, I do too.
Yeah. And Tim's a straight arrow. All I need to know about Tim Walton, Kendra Falby told me in her farewell when she said that she came to Florida as a lost little girl and she leaves as a confident woman who can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
All because of Tim Walton.
Let me jump in there. I'm running way behind. I missed the spot, first of all. And secondly, we have a special segment coming up here with 2 Robs about the Panhandle. We're starting a new segment and maybe ultimately a new podcast about the efficacy of Robert Dotson in now. I just want to say that first of all, I'm going to tell you about the sponsors, about our good friends at Meldon Law. Not just sponsors, they're good friends. They're great Gators. They do many great things in the community. Jeffrey's a hoot to be around. If you know Jeffrey, you ought to get to know him. He'll talk ball with you. He'll talk law. And happens to be a very good lawyer with a very good firm. Meldon Law, they won't back down. They have 4 locations to serve you in North Central Florida. They sponsor things. They have great giveaways on our Facebook page. Get to know the folks at Meldon Law. They're good people and they're good lawyers. And go see them at one of the locations, Gallagher, Lake City, or Williston. Meldon Law, they won't back down. And before we get to Rob Dotson coming up, who's a former president of the Gator Club here in Northwest Florida, I want to say there's a couple of things in this, and I almost hate to get into a family spat, but Mia Williams' mother said something about a slap in the face was a gut punch to a team has hit their way to this World Series, deflating the team time and again. And the first couple of innings, watching the SHIT missiles be launched into the stands, then put on your hitters against refusing to bunt or play small ball or manufacture runs or not coaching. That's going through the motions. Every pitcher has a bad day. We've had a ton of this, but pull them and get them 8 other players on the field chance because they deserve it. The team deserves it. Anyway, she's mad about something. I don't know if parents ought to be telling coaches how to manage. I'll go with Tim Walton too. So, all right, Franz, you know a little bit about the Panhandle. You'll be
been there a couple times in my life.
Well, your book's going to, your book is going to come out soon. And I want you to meet this gentleman if you have not. He was first in my rescue and a guy that you got to get to know. He's a big shot up here in our area, a guy that knows everything about Gators Look at that stuff in the background. He's got Rob. Say hello to Franz if you haven't talked to him before, and he's
Good
been there
evening.
and done that. Franz.
Hey, Rob, how are you doing?
I enjoyed your talks over the years, friends. Been
Well,
following Buddy since the 70s, and you've been right there along with him.
Yeah,
Well, you know what that tells you, don't you?
he's old.
Buddy and I have are card carrying certifiable members of the Old Farts Club.
Well, I believe I'm earning my card quickly.
Yeah, so Rob was good enough to take me out to the I'm gonna get it right, Panhandle Gator Club, and they have they don't do a lot of things on a regular basis, but they have some big events. They're big event people. They've had, tell them who the three speakers are you had, Rob, over the last couple of years.
Well,
Here.
within a 3-month period, it'd be right at 2 years ago, we had Batesy come in May. Then we had
Coach.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. I'm getting them in order. We had a coach, head football coach Napier come in June.
Just a little name in there, dropping that Napier name in there.
Yeah, just a little drop there. And then July we had Todd Golden. 3 months in a row we had those three speakers here at the Panhandle Gator Club.
Those are three pretty good speakers, I would have to say.
Well, not as good as you, France, when we get you here. So France will be coming with his book soon. So Rob is going to come on, and we're going to try to get the other Rob shortly. And I've asked him, we're going to explore the idea. I'm going to learn more about the Panhandle. The more I learned about it, the more I'm amazed at what this place is like. There's so much good stuff. And I'm going to new towns all the time, new places. And Rob's having pity on me here in Panama City. And we're going to be doing stuff up here more and more. And you'll see Rob on the show, hopefully more and more. And tell them about the Panhandle Gator Club real fast, will you?
Panhandle Gator Club has 6 counties, kind of north and south from Panama City, all the way up to the Florida, Georgia, and Florida, Alabama borders, all the way down to it's called Port St. Joe, which is Gulf County. Mm-hmm. We're very active. We have a club of a couple hundred members at the time, and currently we have an activity every month for a family oriented, whether it's a picnic, a go-kart ride, a putt-putt golf course, etc. We went to Duplin Winery for a social. So we're a pretty active club, and we like to interact with the other clubs in the area.
Yeah, so there you go. All right, so friends, while we have the opportunity, waiting for Rob Browne. Where are you, Rob? He's only done 9 shows today. Tell them about your book you got coming out. This is something that I know that Rob is good. This Rob 1, Rob 2, going to love, and I was going to love. And nobody has studied Florida. I say studied Florida basketball over the years like Franz Beard. As far as I'm concerned, he's Mr. Gator College basketball. So, Rob, let's hear what Franz said. What is this book? When's it coming out, etc.?
Well, I'm trying to finish it up now. I keep working at it, and buddy, you know how this goes. That you get something done, and you go back and take a look at it, and you say, and out goes this paragraph, and in goes another one, and and the new paragraph causes you to go back to 3 or 4 others and have to tweak them. And I'm kind of at that stage of it, so I'm trying to finish it up. But what I want to do is, everybody's going to focus in on those last 3 weekends. And those last 3 weekends were special. But the entire season was like a crescendo. And it got louder and louder and louder as the season went along. I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I was telling Buddy back in the summer, Florida could win it all. And when we got to January, I said, I think Florida will win it all. Then when Micah decided to burn his red shirt, I said, that seals the deal. Florida is going to win it. And they did. And so what I'm going to try to do is take people through the entire season. And then, of course, we'll have a lot of emphasis on the weekend in Raleigh, the weekend in San Francisco, and the weekend in San Antonio, including a little bit of a food tour of those three locales as well. Especially San Francisco was interesting. I discovered San Francisco might be the best food city in America, and if you haven't been there, I wouldn't choose to live there under any circumstance, but I would choose to eat there a lot if I could. Any place where you got to have a telephone reservation to get into Saks Fifth Avenue, and then show probably 3 forms of ID and promise to have your firstborn male child executed to get in there and buy. And that's not my kind of place. But anyway, those 3 weekends were special, and I'll throw in 4 because of the SEC tournament in Nashville. But the entire season led up to that. And it was like, the old snowball effect that it kept getting bigger and bigger as we went along, to the point that, we get to that last ball game, and that last play of the last ball game, I think, personified what this team's all about. You get Walter Clayton Jr., who hasn't had a great offensive game, making the greatest defensive play of his life. You get Alex Condon, who 6'11" kid who sees the ball on the floor and just absolutely outruns everybody and dives and gets the ball in his hands and flips it up there. And who's there but Walter Clayton Jr. standing there with the ball in his hands when the horn goes off. My goodness. I was talking with somebody just today, and I said, gosh, I remember, talk about the dunk machine of dunk machines. And that's Elijah Martin, 6'2", and think about the dunks that he had. He had that one there, I think, with about 40 seconds to go against UConn, and he somehow or another comes up with an offensive rebound off of a missed free throw and goes in there and just a thunder dunk. That was also the game where Will Richard punches the ball out. They were great dunks, but then Elijah has this dunk against breakaway dunk against Texas Tech, and then against Auburn, the one there that we have this fantastic picture from Chris Spears of this one could be almost as famous as the jump man of Michael Jordan out like this. I mean, it was something else, but he had, in those 4 games, and then getting against Houston, 4 spectacular dunks. And I'm going to try to.
That's good stuff right there. Now we're joined by, Franz, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we got our other guys here. The book's going to be great. It'll be progressing nice. Franz has got probably 80% of it written. He's just going to go ahead and finish it off. And kudos to Carlton Reese and to Chris Spears for the great work. Wow. Here's Rob Browne. Rob Browne meet Rob Dotson. We'll go Rob A and Rob B.
Hello, Rob.
And the friends, they're going to educate us on the Panhandle tonight. And guys, start out by helping me. I got to get to Freeport tomorrow, okay? I got to go to Freeport tomorrow and meet my brother. We're going on a special trip. Bill Martin, morning show host of the Joy FM. Unbelievable
You're going
guy.
to the Bahamas, huh?
No. We're going Freeport, Florida, a little bit different. It's up the road a little bit, and we're going from there to the Funiac Springs. Now, listen, I didn't know about the Funiac Springs, except I know my grandma met my granddaddy there. That's quite a little town there, apparently, all in a circle lake, all in a big, perfect circle. And they're big in the plays and Chautauqua and all that sort of stuff. I'm learning about that. Then I'm going to Florala, and I'm going to let Rob tell you about Florala. Rob A, he's the top, and then Rob Browne's been down to 38 many times. So, guys, tell me about Freeport. How do I get there, Rob Dotson, and what about it?
I go through Freeport a lot. I've stopped there once or twice, but I haven't done much there. But it is a very nice town. Just off the coast, kind of a crossways between the beach and the interstate.
On 20, right?
Yes, corner 20 and 331.
Yeah. So I'm going to learn more about that. We're just meeting there in the Publix parking lot, and they're going on. Who knows about this place called the Finiac Springs?
Again, you described it well. It's a big spring.
I do.
Perfectly circled.
Before he retired.
Oh, is that right? Okay, the Finiac. How about okay? All right. So now these guys are going to help us and educate us, Rob. Franz, about what we need to know is a lot. And there's a stretch called 30A. And Rob, you know about it because your mother's been going there for 80 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know this territory a lot down here. Tell us what you know about 30A. There's a stretch in there with a bunch of country music stars, NFL players, etc., famous people own places. And I'm here. It's really beautiful. I've never been there.
It is. I mean, Freeport is on the north side of Tucktawache Bay on 331 when you cross over, and it's actually about Rob 14,000 people there now. And yeah, I watched in the Finiac Springs, all these towns. You know that's where the McDonald's is. That going down 331 when you leave Montgomery and you get into Florida, Florala, of course, right there on the border, Florida and Alabama. It's beautiful, but 30A, I can remember back in the early 80s, my dad is an architect and has developed a lot of stuff in the Florida Panhandle. And a friend of his drove him out there and said, I think this area is going to be something big one day. And that was around, Navarre Beach, Rob, and
yes.
So, and then there was, the whole 30A thing is just unbelievable. But you can always tell if it's a Yankee down there because they call it the ocean. It's the Gulf of America.
And now it's the Gulf of Mexico. I beg your pardon. It's still legally and technically on the maps as the Gulf of Mexico. No matter what anybody says, it's the Gulf of Mexico.
And it is gorgeous down there. My mom is 90. So she was 86 years ago, started going down there. And Memphis people just love the Panhandle. And Memphis, Atlanta, Birmingham. But it is, I've got a lot of friends and friends I've worked with that have places down there that commute back and forth from Memphis. And it's special. It's the most beautiful beaches in the world.
I hear they're fantastic.
Nothing better than where they are.
No, I can't disagree. I grew up in Florida. I grew up on the West Coast. I've been all over the world. To me, the best beaches in the world is the Emerald Coast area, from call it Pensacola, the Panama City Beach. Although I can't leave Clearwater Beach out because I think Clearwater Beach is a wonderful place.
Yeah.
I'm not an East Coast beach guy. They're great. It's kind of like New York City on the beach, but I like the West Coast a whole lot better.
Yeah.
My parents were married to Clearwater Beach. Yeah. So, all right. So, Francis, I'm going to let you get out and go right, but I'm going to get you to wrap up your knowledge of a little tidbits you got of the Panhandle area. I didn't know that. I forgot about Jimmy Ray Stevens. We know about Danny Werfel.
Jimmy Barr came from Panama City. A guy named Alonzo Johnson came from Panama City.
Right.
Great Gator linebacker came from there. We've had quite a few came from Pensacola. Dale Dormany would have been
Bill Carr from Pensacola. Was it Bill Carr from Pensacola?
Bill Carr was from Pensacola.
Yeah.
Dale Dormany was from Pensacola and was going to be the starting quarterback, and then he tore his ACL on a Tuesday, but come Wednesday, this fellow named Kerwin Bell was the starting quarterback for the Florida Gators. So we've had let's see, also from the Panhandle, from Graceville. Neil Anderson is from Graceville.
Yep.
Tell you a quick story before I go here. Florida's about to play after Dale Dormany tears his ACL. Florida is going to play Miami in Tampa, first game of the season. Kerwin Bell from Mayo, Florida, is going to be the starting quarterback. And Charlie Pell decides that he needs to put Kerwin in the room with the calmest guy on the team, and that is Neil Anderson. Nothing at all irritates him, gets under his skin. You put him in a house fire, and he's the calmest guy in the room. Well, they're watching a football game on TV because the game's at night in the big sombrero, the old stadium there at Tampa. And Neil gets the remote, and they're watching the football, and all of a sudden it changes to like The Price is Right or something like that. And Kerwin says, well, what the heck? And he gets up and he manually changes the channel back to the football game. As soon as he sits down, Neil clicks it again. This goes on for about 30 minutes. And Kerwin is getting irritated by this. And finally, Neil just couldn't stand it anymore. And Neil says, Kerwin, I want you to watch this. And he pulls up that remote and he clicks it, and it changes the channel. And he clicks it again, and it changes it back. And Kerwin Bell almost does a Gomer Pyle Shazam and goes, you big city boys, you know everything. Well, Neil Anderson was from Graceville, population 2,000. Kerwin Mayo, population 800. So that's the definition of a big city boy. So,
all right, friends, good story. I've got to get you out of there so you can write for tomorrow. What you got going on?
Write about all the transfers and much ado about nothing.
Yeah.
That's what this is too. It's the new era, as Rob will tell you, college football, where everything, baseball, softball, you name it, it's all changed.
Anyway, whatever.
See you guys later. Thanks. Nice to meet you, Rob. Nice to see you, Rob. Good to see you, Bud Light. I'm out of here.
Rob and Rob, how about that? I was thinking about naming the show. I saw being Buddy Gets Robbed. You know what I mean? Anyway, so all right, guys, we got to take a couple extra minutes because we were off the air for a second. Tell us the 2 or 3 things about the Panhandle. We're going to be going around. Like, we got a friend whose son is the president of Northwest Florida College. They've had 2 national championships this year over there. We're going to go to Niceville there and visit. We're going to be certainly going to go up to this trip this weekend. It's very special for my brother and I, Bill, because my dad's dad was born in Alabama and came down to Ocala and got on a train to Phoenix Springs and bumped into a young lassie named Mary Evelyn Thomas from Ocala. Physically bumped in because he was a railroad guy and a journalist and a preacher. And talk about your basic multitasking guy. He ended up going back to Ocala and marrying her, and they had my dad in Ocala, and they're all buried together in down to Oxford. So we're going to reverse. We're going to go salmon, go back upstream. Okay, we're going back up where they came from, and it's going to be an exciting time for me because I only heard about these places. I've never been there, and I know I'm going to love Florala and the First Baptist Church where my great grandfather preached for 30 years there. His name was Wiley Francis. My middle name is Francis. I didn't know that till many years after I was born. And of course, we're going to go there, and then we're going to go down to Phoenix. So tell me what I need to know about that Florala and all that place. Any insights to Lower Alabama there, Rob?
No. Yeah. Go ahead, Rob. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say what makes the Panhandle so good is everybody that lives in Alabama and Georgia kind of thinks of it as LA or Lower Georgia, Lower Florida. And then all the Florida people, you don't see them at the beach and the knolls like you do all these other SUC schools, but it is the greatest community. I mean, there's a lot of people that retire down there, but it's not like Miami Beach and Naples and Vero Beach and Johns Island. It's not that kind of retirement. It's a just get up and go. It's a lot of active. It's a very active place. and it's got beaches. I think I've been to 26 countries. There's no beaches like the Florida Panhandle. It's white, that crystal white sand. But another thing about it is you feel like you are in the South. It is no doubt you are in the South.
I absolutely agree. I'm not against the East Coast of Florida, but it's more like what I'd call city beaches. You come over to the Panhandle area, and you have the country beaches, if you want to call it that way. But the people are just different over here. The people who grew up here, we're more rural than anything else. We have fishing, scuba diving, springs, offshore. We have tourism. Matter of fact, Dolly Parton, not to give her a plug, but she just opened up her third Pirates Voyage dinner and show here in town June 1st. So to pick Panama City Beach along with Myrtle Beach and Pigeon Forge as her 3 locations is pretty impressive to me. It's a pretty area. The food is second to none. Not just the seafood, but et cetera. I mean, I could talk. We have 2 Air Force bases. We have a couple naval bases. I mean, we're well protected over here. I feel great hearing the jets fly over, as I call the sound of freedom, over top of my head every day here by Tyndall Air Force Base. So there's a lot overall to talk about. I won't talk about any one item too much tonight, but like I said, the scuba dive. I've been a certified scuba diver now for 53 years, and within an hour's drive, I have numerous springs and I have several offshore wrecks. So I enjoy my scuba diving along with my fishing. Go offshore anywhere from 2 to 20, 40, 60 miles, and catch yourself a tuna and mahi and a wahoo and have a good time.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something else. Like, I go to Orange Beach a lot, which is right on the border where the Floribama bar is, and we'll be out there on the beach, which is in Florida. That's in the Panhandle, and Monday afternoons around 5:30 or 6, you'll be walking down the beach, and all of a sudden you'll hear this. It'll be the Blue Angels coming in from wherever they've been over the weekend, all over the country, around the world, and they will come in and take a hard left about a half a mile past the Floribama and go back up into Pensacola Naval Air Station. And as far as the people, it's 86 years. Mom remembers, Rob, when they broke ground for Silver Beach Motel and Cottages. Her parents took her out from Fort Walton Sunday afternoon. That was a big deal. And in 1970, we stayed at Silver Dunes condominiums. Dad's friend Frank King built them. They didn't have the diving board up yet back in the days when they had diving boards. But the seafood down there, Gulf Coast seafood, grouper, pompano, you got the mullet toss, amberjack, mackerel, snapper, cobia, wahoo. The food, the mix, you get a lot of Louisiana over there because they don't have beaches. I mean, their beaches, talk about kind of dirty because the Mississippi, so they all come over to like Navarre Beach. And they'll have 15 or 20 families at Navarre out there. And each night, a different one of them or a couple of families will be in charge of cooking. Navarre Beach is one of the top 10 beaches, beautiful beaches in the world. And I remember when Opal hit October 95, Dad had to rebuild stuff down there. The devastation down there was unbelievable. But those people are the most resilient, badass group of people. I mean, you've got a lot of retired Air Force, but you talk about patriotic, God-fearing Americans. When you go to Hurlburt Army, the airfield there, that's U.S. Special Operations Command, the C-130s. I used to fly down a lot from Columbus on the choppers with the Ranger School. That's where they do swamp phase down there at Eglin. There's so much going on in the Panhandle. You could have a series about it.
Yeah. I have to say, Rob, you mentioned all the great seafood. I'm a grouper man and mahi man left and right. But my wife would rather have fried mullet over other fish. She's from Port St. Joe. And that is a delicacy for her.
Yeah, my wife now is from Port. She lived down there 40 years. But my dad, well, he lives in Anna Maria Island. You guys know where that is, down Bradenton. The editor of the Bradenton and Herald. My brother Bill obviously was his son. My dad, the one meal he made was the best thing I ever ate. He would go down to the docks. He'd get fresh mullet off the boat that day, bring him home clean. He'd put on the grill, and he'd get hot grease, and he'd make hush puppies with tomato sauce and onions.
Whoa!
And he'd make grits, cheese grits, and he'd fry that mullet. I never had a better fish in my life than that.
Yeah, I'm going to throw a recipe at y'all called Grouper Destin. If you like grouper fillets, my mom, you take in a puree in a mixer, 1/3 butter, 1/3 mayonnaise, and 1/3 Parmesan cheese. Put, of course, fresh lemon juice all over that grouper, and then take that and baste it on the grouper. Cook it 25 minutes at 375. Take it out, put a little more Parmesan on there for another 5 or 10. Serve it over a bed of fresh risotto with a good ice cold beer, scotch and water, good wine. But the seafood and the shrimp industry and the whole, it really is, it's Louisiana's beach too. So you've got the mix of all that Louisiana food and the Florida food. Hell, I love those beaches on the East Coast of Florida. They are fun to go to, but the Big Bend area, you get, like you said, Port St. Joe, Cape Sandblast, Apalachicola, world famous oysters. The Big Bend is one of the most underrated in terms of, it's kind of the last frontier. And I just hope people will respect the sovereignty of that area and don't destroy it, because when you're at 30A and you got Western Inlet and that thing comes out to within 15 feet of the Gulf, and you can lay in that thing, and the surf, when the tide's right, will come up and wash it. But it is fly over it in a helicopter sometime. It's so gorgeous, but you can't. And my favorite beach down there today that's holding on, kind of like the Keys, kind of like Destin was 50, 60 years ago. I love it because Grayton Beach. I love Grayton Beach, and 30A is wonderful and all like that. Seagrove, but St. Andrews Bay, where Buddy is.
I've been out the window right there. Yeah.
I love it.
Rob's been here. Rob A has been here. In the final couple of minutes, we went way over. I don't care.
Sorry.
Because, no, it's okay. Tonight we went off the air for a little bit, and so I apologize to Brendan when he gets on me about this. But we went off the air, and Franz held us together. But I want you guys to take me to a restaurant. All right, you're taking me to eat tomorrow night someplace at a really good restaurant. Money is not a real consideration, but some. I want to go have the best meal that's indigenous to this area. And what am I going to have on the menu, and where am I going to go? Can you guys come up with a place?
Rob, you go first.
Well, one of the more popular places that has awesome food is Captain Anderson's.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a large place. It's been around a long time, family owned.
Right over here from me, right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the one at the beach. Is it the one at the beach, or is it right here? The one here in Panama?
The one at the beach, but
Okay.
down Thomas Drive.
I got you. Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, Captain Anderson's. It's
Yeah.
awesome place. Great wine selection, for example.
Yeah. Their food's good. I've eaten there. Yes, it's good. Rob Browne, where are you going to take me?
I love Great Southern on 30A. Goat Feathers, another good one. And, of course, the Wharf and Captain Dave's in Destin, Marina Seafood, Barnacle Bill's. I mean, that's where I learned about fried grouper fingers. Old Barnacle Bill used to get all liquored up, walk around. He looked like the captain on SpongeBob SquarePants. Go, hey, go up and kiss all the women and stuff. And he'd get more liquored up and come hug them. But you got Alvin's Island. What they've done down there is, again, they've kept it, you're in the South, and people come from all. I-65 brings so many people down there in the Panhandle, but I don't think you can beat during football season. If you're lucky enough to be down on the Gulf Coast, get out there and have a party, watch it, bring a big flat screen with a generator out on the beach and have a shrimp boil or catch some of those blue crabs, have a West Indies crab salad, and, have some full coolers of beer and wine and good liquor. but watching the sunset down on that Gulf Coast. And as a kid, I was down there when Camille hit. My mother would not leave. She goes, I'm not going to let some damn storm ruin my vacation. Of course, my dad goes, I guess we're staying. And foolishly, we did. But that place rebuilt. It's rebuilt from, Hurricane Frederick, Ivan, Opal. Those are the most resilient, toughest people. And it's a mixture of the Cajun lifestyle, the great food, Southern, and then you got people from all over that Air Force people that retire there. You can't beat it. I love it.
It's an amazing place. I look out my window, I can see a huge ship. I mean, a freighter coming out from the ship channel right here, going to right next door. It's an amazing place.
It is.
All right, guys, this has been fun. I think we have to do this again. The two Robs together talking Panhandle. And Rob Dotson, we're going to get Rob Browne down here. And he can come out to the Gator Club and we'll show him around a little bit, get him down here and start doing some more things for the Panhandle, because we're going to get more guests on for the Panhandle. We want the people to feel comfortable. I don't want the Gator fans to get upset that we'll go off script occasionally. We'll have our own spot if we like it. If you like it, folks, you want to see more of it, email me at Buddy Martin Show. We'll see. Rob Dotson, thank you so much. And Rob Browne, again, thank you guys. Great job, okay?
Thank you.
Oh, anytime, man.
All right. Really got fun. All right. I'm learning lots and lots about this place, and the more I learn, the more I love it. So there you go. We're going to go ahead and wrap up the show. We were off for a couple of minutes, and then we had to come back. I want to just tell you folks about all of our sponsors. I told you earlier about our friends at Meldon Law. We really appreciate all the things they do, and they do a lot. And I want to keep repeating the fact that if you need lawyers, these people can get them for you, and they can tell you what to do. They're very professional, and they won't mess around with your mind or make you promise you things they can't deliver. They'll tell you if they can do it or not. If they can't do it, they'll say, well, here's somebody you ought to go see. And of course, Titan MRI Imaging, very great folks. Appreciate their support of this program. Appreciate it very much. They're growing fast. They, of course, are now called Titan MRI Imaging. They acquired Highfield MRI. Joe Colorio started Highfield in 1997. Now he's back. Titan MRI Imaging now has 3 locations to serve you, 2 in Gainesville with Park Avenue location, and now the Millennium Center, and also one in Lake City serving all of Columbia County and Valdosta, Georgia. They have same great customer service they've always had. They accept your insurance, or you can go through their convenient self-pay options if you like. They give you CAT scans, x-rays, ultrasounds, easy scheduling with lots of options, including evenings. And they have, here's the key, larger MRI machines for patient comfort. Boy, if you've never had one, if you've ever been to one, I'm telling you, you can get claustrophobic in there, and that's one thing they consider. Always consider the patient. Titan MRI and Imaging, check them out, and they'll have more and more locations to serve you. Pretty soon they'll be in my hometown of Ocala. Great show tonight. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Thank you for hanging in there with us. That segment we did on the Panhandle, we'll begin to do a few more of those, and we'll ultimately, if people like them, we'll sort of split off and do our own little show a different place. But Buddy Martin Show will be going here strong, as it has been for the last 5 or 6 years. We did this before most folks knew what streaming was. And thanks to our executive producer, Brendan Martin. It's going to be an interesting weekend as Florida regroups. We don't have any baseball to talk about, but I'm telling you, I love baseball, and I've had a great time watching it. But I'm ready to give that particular baseball a little bit of a break, college baseball. I wish them all the best in what they do in the World Series and all the other teams, but I'm going to try watching some Major League games. Had a great time tonight. Thank you for listening. Thanks for watching.